Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Too sweet! This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
Beat me if you can! Come on!
It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Kiwi here, and joining me once again is my good brother from the Bulletcast. It's Philip. How's it going, man?
Huey, it's Monday night. I watched a whole episode of Monday Night Raw. I can't believe that. I haven't done that in quite some time. You are now a 5-time Bulletcast champion.
Five-time. Just call me Booker T now. I'm just like him.
That's Huey T, ladies and gentlemen.
Huey T.
Huey T. And can you dig that, boneheads? Yeah, there
Sucker!
we go.
I gotta do a spinneroonie.
No, you gotta say boneheads though. You gotta say
Boneheads!
Can you dig that, boneheads? Yeah.
I'm so happy. Because at first I was trying to remember all my picks and remember.
I think what I'm gonna just start doing is sending everybody's picks to everyone, just so you guys can follow along. I think I'm gonna just start doing that.
Yeah, it's so I listened to the Bulletcast review of AEW's Revolution. So I like how I won based on a coin flip again. A coin flip. I was like, wow. So Brandon and I technically tied, but you did I like how you did the coin flip. And
I want to let you know something. I'm gonna let you know something.
What's that?
This is the greatest business device. You know what I'm saying? You know why Ted Turner got involved with wrestling? He flipped a coin. You know why Tony Khan got involved with wrestling? Not just because he loves it, but he flipped a coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
you know why Kenny Omega was IWGP champion? Because they flipped a coin.
So, you gotta clean that belt for me, or just shine it up real nice.
Shine it. All it does is sit there.
I know. It's good.
It just sits there.
What's the next event that's going to be on the line for?
The granddaddy of them all,
WrestleMania.
Yeah, night 1 and 2. Yeah.
Okay, so I have the title for a little bit now, about a month.
I'm actually glad you won. My back's been hurting a little bit lately.
Why is that? Why's your back hurting?
Carrying the podcast world on my shoulders as its champion. You know what I mean? My back's been feeling a little tight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's nice to get the title off of me for a little bit.
Yeah.
I've become one of those guys where I don't need the championship, but I want the championship.
I was gonna say the championship needs you.
You know what I'm saying? You want some of these world championships? Big air quote on that.
Yeah.
To have some real legitimacy. Billy Corgan, Tony Khan, whoever runs New Japan, Sinclair for Ring of Honor. I'm your guy.
Yes, exactly.
I'm your guy. Court Bauer, get the title off of Fatu. Put it on your boy.
Oh man, so here we are back for another episode of In The Kliq. As always, subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and email us anytime, inthekliq@gmail.com. So much to get into. Oh, and get the merch as well. I keep stressing, go get the merch. It's just click the link in our bio on whatever social media page you follow us on. So here we are on a Monday night. We've had 24 hours to sleep on it, process it. The events that happened last night for AEW's Revolution, their big pay-per-view, the first one of the year. Man, so much to talk about. Part of me was like, I wish I could record last night right after the show, but I'm actually kind of glad I was able to sleep on it and just kind of think it over. I actually rewatched it today because I was honestly, we recorded a episode yesterday, and by the time we were done, I was editing. I was like missing kind of the first half hour of the show because I was like half watching it and half editing. So I was like, you know what, today, as soon as I get home, I'm just going to watch it and just really focus on the show. So I'm glad I did that. So much to get into. So, I mean, we'll get through each match and stuff, but yeah, Philip, just kind of your initial just thoughts, takeaways from this pay-per-view.
You said you listened to the Revolution recap that the Bulletcast did. You heard my thoughts. I didn't really say a lot. I let Brandon and Cindy take control of the show.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I love how you said, Brandon, you take over after the coin flip because you had to do the post on social media of my face, my photo on the Bulletcast Instagram and stuff.
Absolutely. I have different thoughts now. I've had some time to sit on it. I didn't rewatch the show like you did, but I have different thoughts, especially about the ending. Oh, I posted the real ending of the exploding barbed wire death match.
I saw that with the special added fire.
That's what really was supposed to happen. But yeah, man, I have different thoughts. Let's jump into it, man.
All right. So we have the kickoff show not the kickoff. Sorry, that's WWE talk. The buy-in. See, my mind, is very WWE heavy. So the buy-in show, it was Thunder Rosa and Rio taking on Britt Baker and what was thought to be Rebel. But last minute, Britt Baker comes out and says Rebel is too beat up after what she got beat up. When was it?
On Wednesday or like 2 weeks ago by Nyla Rose. 2 weeks ago.
So she had a special fill-in, and it was Maki Ito. Am I saying her name right?
Dude, I don't know. I'm like,
okay.
Who the hell is that?
That's kind
of my thing. I was like, oh, who is this? I was thinking Tessa Blanchard. I was thinking that for a little bit. I was like, AJ Mendez. Can't say AJ. I was like, who's it going to be?
AJ Brooks.
That's possible. Yeah, you can do that.
No, so anyway, she comes out, and I'm like, okay, cool. It's the girl from the tournament that a lot of people were hype over. And that's the thing. No offense to her. I just don't know much about her, but I saw online a lot of people losing their S over her, marking out so hard. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, it's just, I don't know who she is. I don't know much of her background and like her history. I mean, she's a Japanese wrestler. And so she has just all this history in a different country. So I guess apparently she was a former pop star or pop idol star. So, I think of like American Idol. So I'm guessing she was like one of those type of celebs. It was
like Carrie Underwood or something over there.
Yeah. And then, I guess lost her gig or something like that. Broke some rules, whatever. And then she transitioned to pro wrestling. And then, her character, she's like a pop star, but she's also very kind of dirty. She's always like flipping off people or something like that. That's just kind of what I just noticed and what I'm trying to hear other people explain what's so special about her. So,
okay, so she's a problem child like Tessa Blanchard and Jake Paul.
Exactly.
Or Logan Paul, whatever those dudes' names are.
This opening, a buy-in show was cool. I mean, it did its job. I think just getting people amped up. Thunder Rosa. I love watching Thunder Rosa perform in the ring. Rio, not so much. Britt Baker, she's definitely been improving since she's been back from her injury. And Maki Ito, I mean, she was doing her thing in the ring, kind of being loud and obnoxious. Like I said, I was just like, I just don't know much about her.
Here's a random thought I just had. What happened to Big Swole? Just randomly out of nowhere, I just thought about that.
No, and I honestly, I thought about that a couple days ago. So FYI, on Saturday night, they released a special episode of AEW Dark, and I guess Swole made an appearance on there and cut a promo. I didn't watch it, but I think she more or less was calling people out or something. I'm not quite sure. So I think I didn't watch it. I just saw some like screenshots online. So she cut a promo on AEW Dark. I don't know why she's been off TV, or maybe she's been mostly on Dark. I don't know what's going on, but it looks like she's starting to come back again. But, maybe when I have a chance, I'll watch her promo on Dark this week and see what she said. But, if anything, I'm kind of glad she was off TV a bit. I think she's been hit or miss in the ring. Like, so she can do some really good moves, and then she can be really botchy as well. So she's still very green.
You know what? We're looking for a female member. Come join a group where business is booming.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and I think she's married to one of the stars of that faction.
Absolutely, one half of the World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah,
the real World Tag Team Champions.
So, anyway, like I said,
I'm be honest with you about this match, man. I saw like the first 3 minutes, and then I had to step away to go get some food for later on to watch the pay-per-view. So I don't know who won or lost or whatever.
Let me see. Rebel dropped her crutches, jumped onto the apron to distract Thunder Rosa. Britt Baker inadvertently collided with Rebel, but Rebel still managed to crack Thunder Rosa with her crutch. Britt Baker used the opportunity to steal the victory and pin Thunder Rosa. Okay. So, the heels won here, and we see them make an appearance later in the show, so we'll get into that. All right, so we kick off the main show of the night. Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur on the call. Man, poor Jim Ross. He's had a sore throat or something? Dude was was barely able to speak, laryngitis or something. I hope he's okay.
He needs to start drinking some of that barbecue sauce.
Something.
Actually, you know what? I had my photography teacher my senior year. Shout out, Mr. Gurley.
Nice.
He would, when his voice would get like that, he would drink hot sauce.
What? What kind?
Yeah, he would have these different lines. If you've ever seen Hot Ones, different lines of hot sauce, dude.
Yeah.
If his voice is really bad, there was this green one that's made in Mexico that's absolutely horrendously hot. He would hit a couple like a shot. He would take a shot of that, and his voice would be perfectly fine. So Jim Ross, if you're hearing this, pal, you need to get some of that.
Man, so she get the guy a cough drop or some hot tea and lemonade or something. I mean, I was just listening to him. I was like, poor guy, I hope he's okay. But he powered through the night, and Tony Schiavone and Excalibur, definitely Excalibur did the majority of the play-by-play for the night. So, I like listen, they're at Daly's place once again. That's just their home during this whole pandemic. I kind of like how they changed it up a little bit as far as having that glass panel on the stage where it was an extra set of lights or LEDs. So that kind of
the board you walk on.
Yeah, so kind of
like if you've ever been in a place where you're walking on glass and you look down and you can see through it. That's what it kind of felt like.
Yeah, so it was a very cool stage setup. So for the different wrestlers walking to the ring, it kind of added their Titantron jumbo screen graphics down below as well. So just kind of added more pizzazz when they're coming to the ring. So I thought that was really cool, just to kind of spruce things up for a pay-per-view show. So here we go, the opening match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. The Young Bucks defending them against members of the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, the Demo God himself, and MJF. It was an interesting matchup here as far as, listen, we know the Young Bucks. They do the high-flying, super kicks, all that stuff. Taking on Chris Jericho and MJF, who are a complete 180 as far as their performance in the ring. Obviously, Chris Jericho at his older age, kind of more of a ground-and-pound style. MJF, very old school and keeps it, stays on his 2 feet a lot. So how do you think this matchup played out and just the match itself?
I thought it was fine. Oh my God, that was my email that Austin isn't making a run in. I'm sorry, guys. I thought it was fine. And especially with the Young Bucks working a different style. Is that a Hulk cup? What is that?
Yep, it's my Avengers Infinity War cup with Hulk's head on it. I got it a couple years ago.
What's in that?
Just water.
Oh no, a little bit of bubbly. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit of bubbly.
Yeah, there you go. Sidebar, Jericho's, I've had different champagnes. His is legit. I'm not even just saying this because he's our friend. It's the best champagne I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah,
I still have mine in the fridge. I have not opened it yet.
The other champagnes I've had are atrocious.
I've been waiting for a reason to kind of really celebrate and open it. So I was going to do it when the Niners, I thought we were going to win the Super Bowl. That didn't happen.
I mean, Tom Brady won, so it's like the Niners won. He's from the Bay.
Yeah, I always thought about opening it was it end of January, I signed a new contract with the radio station I work at, so another 4 years. So I was like, maybe we should have done it then, but I got busy and forgot to do it. So I don't know, maybe when I get my vaccine or something, whenever that is, I'll celebrate
there
when
we go.
I get my second
Something
vaccine.
big like that.
Something big when like I get back to normal life. But
back to the match.
Yeah.
The Young Bucks, they worked a slower style, and I think it really complemented the match itself, because Nick Jackson, I've always said this, he has probably the best comeback in wrestling today.
Yeah.
And it was slower. It was a step or two down than the normal pace that it usually is. That's because he was working in there with guys who don't really work as fast, and they're more of the slower grounded pound. And I liked that. I liked how their styles did complement each other. Some of the moves were kind of botched, but botches, they do help wrestling at times. Like when a move is a botch, like, that looked like that really hurt. Is he okay? Like when Jericho accidentally code broke the ribs of Matt Jackson instead of his face, or when Jericho got super kicked in the gut and the abs. Okay. But they didn't win with the BTE trigger. I'm like, okay, so we're going deep in the water. Are Jericho and Maxwell going to pull it off? And they didn't. All in all, Meltzer driver, going back to the Japan days of the Young Bucks with the win.
Yeah. I was going to say, I enjoyed the beginning as far as because listen, Young Bucks are very mad at these guys because they beat up their dad about a week and a half ago now. So they kind of just as soon as the match started, they come running, charging at them, and just start throwing punches like hockey style. So I kind of like that, as far as instead of your basic traditional lockup, they just like F that, just ran and started beating the crap out of them. So just kind of showing some intensity. But then later on, as this match progressed, it was really interesting. The Young Bucks were looking booked very strong throughout this match. I mean, there were some moments where Jericho and MJF got some offense in, but I really felt like Young Bucks were really dominating a lot. And, at times that's cool, but at the same time, it's like, okay, it's kind of losing a little bit of the story there. It's like, okay, they're kind of dominating so much here. And even at one point, I think it was Matt who took the bat shot from Jericho in the back, and then MJF hit his finisher, right, the one off the ropes. Oh, what's it called?
Nail. I want to say Salt of the Earth driver,
yeah.
But it's not. It's not that.
But Matt kicked out of that, so the bat shot to the back and MJF's move, and he kicked out. I was like, whoa, what the? I mean, come on, kayfabe. It's like that's a big move, or two moves to kick out of. I did like they did the Motor City Machine Guns tandem offense that they're known for. So I thought that was pretty cool. They did that in the ring. But ultimately, we saw here, as you said, Young Bucks hit the Meltzer driver on Jericho, and then Matt pinned him. So Jericho took a pin here. So, kind of shocking. Jericho, took the loss here, and, we'll go ahead and jump to what we saw later on the night. There was the backstage segment where, they're interviewing the Inner Circle, and Jericho, pretty much said, like, things have got to change, and they're going to call, a war council, the Inner Circle War Council, this Wednesday on, Dynamite. Let me just double check here. What's, they're calling it? Where is it? Let's see, Chris Jericho. Jericho just posted on Instagram. Okay, so this Wednesday on Dynamite is called the Inner Circle War Council. So yeah, that's what it was. And MJF looks at him and says, yes, we are due for a change, or we need a change. I'm paraphrasing. And then Santana and Ortiz are just staring at them. So just early predictions. Do you think MJF is going to turn on Chris Jericho and kick him out and become the new leader of the Inner Circle?
Well, they like to swerve us. The AEW does. So that's what we all are talking about and what to think. That may not even happen.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Like I don't know what's going to happen. It could happen, but I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, would Jericho become a babyface then after that? So, be interesting to see what happens. All right, next.
Wait, hold. Before we get to there, that become a babyface. He did just file the trademark for Lionheart Corazon de Leon. So
he did.
He filed that. Like 2 weeks ago. Like it's officially his now. So
really?
You never know. Yeah, you never know, man.
Interesting. Oh man. I'm just pulling up real quick. Oh, that's just on the Battle Royale. I was trying to look up who else was in that other match. So next up was the Casino Tag Team Royale match. The winning team earns a shot at the AEW World Tag Team Championship. So all the teams here, I'll just name them off real quick. They had Bear Country. Dark Order had 3 different teams. So they had Alex Reynolds and John Silver.
They didn't need 3 different teams. Why weren't Angelico and Jack Evans in?
I know.
Like, honestly, like they had Silver and Reynolds. You need them.
Mm-hmm.
Stu Grayson and Uno. They haven't really done much. You know. They didn't need 5 and 10. They didn't have to be in there.
Yeah, it's also Eva Uno, Stu Grayson, Santana Ortiz, Butcher and the Blade, Private Party, Gun Club, Natural Nightmares, also Dark Horse 10 and 5, as you just mentioned, Death Triangles, Pac and Ray Phoenix, Matt and Mike Seidel, Jurassic Express, Varsity Blondes, Pretty Peter Avalon, and with Cesar Bononi and SCU, with Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian. It was interesting. They had on the flyer, or the graphic, they had the Top Flight on there, but Top Flight not actually being up in this tag team. So hopefully everything's okay. Why they were not in this last minute or something. There's a change out. But yeah, what'd you think of this whole Casino Tag Royale play out?
It was fine. You know, we saw a dissension between QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes, so probably no more Natural Nightmares. QT got those hair plugs, and he's looking to go have a night out on the town. You know what I'm saying? It honestly, you know what? We didn't need this on the show. I'll be honest with you. Like this is kind of the WWE thing of let's get everybody on the show. Not everybody needs to be on the show. Like this and the Miro Sabian tag match with Cassidy and them. You could have put this on Dynamite, and you could have shortened the show up.
Yeah, I mean, this was almost a 4-hour show.
Yeah,
so.
It felt like remember Full Gear, because that was super long too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like WWE pay-per-views have been like what 2.5 to 3 hours tops.
Yeah.
They need to pick that up.
No, it was interesting as far as I guess maybe they feel, you know, people are buying the pay-per-view. They want to give their money's worth and give them a full 4 hours plus the buy-in. Maybe that's the mentality. So they want to feel like they're over-delivering in that aspect. But it just makes for such a long night.
You can do that. And I mean, like, look, what you do, the matches that actually are pay-per-view worthy, I hate to say it like that, but not everybody needs to be in a pay-per-view. That's just my honest opinion.
Yeah.
The matches that are pay-per-view worthy, let them tear it up. Like, pick one match that you think is going to be the best match on the card, has the potential to be, and let them tear it up. Like the women's title match, you could have shortened that by 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh my God, that went way too long. Actually, let me double check how long that went for.
I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. So, I'll just say some of the highlights I thought of, like Bear Country. I don't know much about them. I guess they've been mostly on Dark.
Hey, that was Brandon's pick.
I know, which was odd. I mean, they came in, they wrecked shop for a bit before, the Butcher threw them out. Reynolds and Silver, dude, they're so over now as baby faces. So when they made their appearance at the end, the crowd popped so hard for them. And then, I mean, Alex Reynolds, Silver. Wait, which one is the bald guy? Is that
Johnny Hungy?
Yeah, Silver.
Yeah.
So, dude, when he was like laying those kicks, dude, he was like super fast leg kicks. That was so cool. I laughed. What was it? Evil Uno. He took a Hurricanrana for a Marco stunt. Like, and if it's on the WrestleBotch Instagram page, but he hit the Hurricanrana and Evil Uno ran halfway across the ropes to hit the post. It was so bad, like a really bad oversell. You can check it out on WrestleBotch Instagram page. It was just ridiculous. I really kind of thought Santana Ortiz might win here, but then again, they just had a title shot against the Young Bucks recently, so they probably would not get another opportunity for a while.
Once again, I feel like a broken record. MJF and Jericho won the match to be the official team of the Inner Circle.
Yeah.
Why are they still a tag team?
I know.
It's just continuity with me, you know?
Yeah.
That's my whole thing. If they want to be a tag team, they need to leave the Inner Circle.
Yeah. So, speaking of like groups, so the Nightmare Family, the Gun Club, they were in it, Billy Gunn's kids, and they got eliminated by Marshall, right? QT Marshall, and that's when Dustin got mad, like, hey, what's going on? And
hey, tell me why I kind of popped for the Gun Club.
I mean, yeah, they both like mini-me versions of Billy Gunn, so it's kind of cool seeing them in the ring, and each of them kind of has their own look, and they look just like their dad. So, QT Marshall, he leaves the ring, he, spits gum or whatever in Dustin's face and walks away. Do you think this is part of, remember, what was the guy that was on Dynamite a few weeks ago? He was a member of the Nightmare Family, the younger guy.
Lee Johnson?
Yeah, remember he was thanking everyone in the Nightmare Family except QT Marshall, and QT Marshall was standing behind him, and he made that facial look like, what the hell? You forget about me.
Okay, so maybe that's a part of it.
So maybe QT Marshall's just pissed that he's not getting proper recognition amongst the Nightmare Family and their crew. So we'll see if that's what the case is. And so, yeah, Death Triangle, when they came in, they started tearing things up. Jurassic Express as well. Luchasaurus dominated first, but then when he got thrown out, it really was Jungle Boy's turn to shine. He did great. And so when it got down to like the final four, and it was like Jungle Boy by himself against the three other teams in there, Jungle Boy looked great. And that's the thing with Jungle Boy. He fights it out towards the end of a match, and he's usually by himself, and he's like the underdog, and he's outnumbered. He puts up a tremendous fight, and he still loses, which it's okay losing here because, one, he's so young, and he's going on against all these veterans. So it makes sense that the rookie, more or less, against these older guys will dominate against him and eventually win. But he puts up a tremendous fight, so he still looks good even in defeat. So Jungle Boy, I like how they're really trying to build him up as a big star, but they're really pacing it out.
Absolutely, man. And, he ran kind of that same spot, not with those caliber of athletes, but when they had that big battle royal in the Cow Palace, Chicano Flame, he won it. Jungle Boy was like one of the last dudes, and he kind of ran that same spot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Him and Phoenix. Oh, my God. Dude, Phoenix. It's just so raw.
Dude, Phoenix, on this match, he ran across the rope and kicked someone in the face.
That's my favorite move that he does.
Oh, my God. Just the balance and athleticism, amazing. And so then it came down to Jungle Boy and Rey Fenix. And I like how Phoenix did the tope through the rope. And
the tope. I say
they
were like, oh man, they were like tope, and they were trying. No, it was in between. It was in between.
Yeah, and he was going like this between.
Yeah, and then when he tried to throw him out, and then he did like the rebound through the rope, like where he hangs on like a spider. I'm like, that's hella raw.
But it's like every time he does, he goes farther and farther into the crowd. So Jungle Boy and him go in there, and they just battle it out. And then ultimately, Rey Fenix gets the win for their team. So,
you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of 07 Rumble when Shawn and Taker have that mini little singles match.
Yeah,
yeah, that's kind of what this reminded me of. And dude, man, it was great. I'm happy for Pac and Phoenix. They were my pick. And I don't think they'll win the tag titles, but I think they're gonna have a nice showing.
Absolutely, looking forward to that matchup with the Young Bucks.
Like, dude, like I know too many titles is a thing, but they need a cruiserweight title, a light heavyweight title, something.
Or weren't they teasing like a trios title for a while? Or
yeah, maybe I don't want to see that. I think a light heavyweight championship is more in their element.
Yeah, I mean,
because I know like it would be a spot fest, but could you imagine Phoenix, Jungle Boy, Pac, and let's say Max Caster in a fatal 4-way for a light heavyweight title?
Pac be like, I already was a cruiserweight champion once. I'm not doing it again.
Come on, man.
Different promotion. Yeah. So, it'd be interesting. So next up, we saw Dasha backstage with Paul White, aka formerly known as The Big Show. So he gave a hint of who the Hall of Fame caliber new signing for AEW was, and quote is, "I don't think anyone can outwork him." So a little teaser there, in which we'll get into a little bit who the big reveal was, which at this point everyone knows who it was. But all right, so next up was the AEW Women's World Title match. Hikaru Shida taking on Ryo Mizunami. I was excited for this match, but it was a tad underwhelming for multiple reasons for me. I mean, what do you think?
The length they were getting kind of slow out there. They were playing up the exhaustion factor a little too much. I mean, the only time I've ever seen it played perfectly, I'm not gonna lie, is the Okada Omega, where Okada goes for the Rainmaker and Omega just collapses because he's exhausted as hell.
Yeah,
I think that's the best example of it. Look, man, they should have cut this down like 10 or 11 minutes. I didn't want to see Hikaru win keep the title. I felt like it was time for a new champion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, like those are my honest opinions. So now that she's still the champion, who's next? Who's next? You know what I'm saying?
It's got to be Britt Baker still, I think. But
She
should
have already won.
So this is my issue was they were trying, I think, sell this match as like some strong style, like hard hitting style. But in reality, I think it came off very sloppy and more just wailing of body parts, their arms and forearms and stuff. And it looked not very clean. It looked very just chaotic all over the place. So at one point early in the match, Shida was in the corner and Rio just started slapping her in the chest, but it wasn't even that hard. And it looked very just like kids playful fighting. I was like, wait, that doesn't even look like that's real. Like if you're the champion and you're getting like these weird little soft slaps, playful slaps, I would have grabbed my opponent and throw him off. I mean, be like, what kind of throwing punches is that? It's terrible. It's weak. But yeah, so later on, they're kind of doing more like these hard hitting strikes against each other. But it was like I said, more just like their arms wailing in the air and it was just going all over the place and nothing was really connecting with one another. So it just looks so off to me. And so, like I said, I love Rio's energy. I love her, like her facial expressions. Like, it makes me smile, it makes me kind of giggle. It just like her personality seems very fun. But putting it into the ring, it just looked kind of sloppy. And Shida at some points looks like kind of a slower pace. Like she looks kind of slow sometimes in the ring. And so I don't know if, as you said, it was just exhaustion that they were trying to sell, or she's just not very explosive at times. So there was just a lot of elements to this match where, like, I was really wanting this to be an amazing match for them because it was the only women's match on the main show. But yeah, it was a little bit of a disappointment to me with that being said.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just like I said, the exhaustion, the time, and Ryo. I think she was my pick to win. But I mean, like with the whole playful thing, like we're having this problem with Riddle on WWE TV.
Yeah,
you can be goofy outside of the ring, but when it's time to be serious, you need to be serious.
Yes,
like RVD, he was a goofy dude, but he was excuse my language, he was a bad motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You
Absolutely.
can be goofy, but when that bell rings, you need to be serious as hell.
Yeah, no, totally. You're right. And that's the thing. It was kind of goofy, but like I said, it's just the arms wailing. It just didn't look crisp in the ring. And I was like, like I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to go this hard hitting style against each other, but it wasn't really connecting. I was like, it's just, I don't know if it's just like a chemistry thing or a timing thing or just they're just inexperienced. I don't know. It's tough to tell. But then later on, so we saw Nyla Rose come out and attack Shida and Mizunami at the same time. Britt Baker, Rebel come out, and Maki Ito. They're all attacking the two of them. So it's 4-on-2. Then Thunder Rosa comes out and makes the save. So it was, the baby faces and the heels standing off to the side. So it was announced for Dynamite this week. It's going to be Shida, Thunder Rosa, and Rio taking on Rebel, Britt Baker, and Nyla. No, not Nyla Rose. Am I getting this right? Let's see. So this Wednesday Dynamite will be Britt Baker, Rebel, and Maki Ito. And so I don't know why Nyla Rose is not booked for the match, but anyway, we'll see what happens. Maybe Rebel will get hurt again. So that should be interesting to see how this goes. Do you know if Maki Ito is signed full time with AEW now? She didn't get like an all elite graphic card, so I don't think it's official.
I have no idea. I know they just signed Sean Dean. Shout out to him real quick.
Yeah.
But, other than that, I don't think she is. No.
Okay. So next up, we see Alex Marvez talking to Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. Literally before Chuck Taylor can get a word out, Miro and Kip Sabian attack them. Miro throws Chucky T in like this glass door, shatters, starts bleeding. Kip Sabian suplexes Cassidy, Orange Cassidy on one of the boxes out there. And then I like how Miro had grabbed Chuck Taylor and said, cut my or start my music, and takes him outside to the ring and starts beating the crap out of them. And it was like a total grudge match going on. And it was like a 2-on-1. Miro tried to, talk to Chuck Taylor and be like, if you would have sided with me, I would have put a rocket on you. And he's like, you can get out of this now if you quit. But, Chuck Taylor said, hit the bell. And so they started wrestling. So, this match, I enjoy Miro finally being a dominant monster in the ring. What did you think of his performance?
How long was this match?
This match, let's see, on Wikipedia it says 7 minutes and 50 seconds.
Oh, wow. Okay. That was about,
but I mean, but keep in mind, I mean, the backstage stuff, and they came in the ring and they were talking before Chuck E. T said hit the bell, so it was a little bit longer.
I mean, it was fine. Like I said, you could have done this on a big episode of Dynamite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
It didn't need to be there.
So I enjoyed
Orange Cassidy, though. He like his gimmick was there were a lot more fans there. I think about like almost 2,000 or 2,000 fans, and like you could hear them when he did the hand in the pocket thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When he made his return to the match later on, people were cheering him on. Miro was just booked so dominant. It was just beating the ass out of Chuck E. T. And then finally, Chuck E. T gets some offense in on Kip Sabian as well. I enjoyed, though, at one point, Kip Sabian, I guess, was legal person in, but Miro shoved, I think, was it Orange Cassidy into Penelope, or into Kip Sabian, who bumped into Penelope Ford, who fell on the outside, and Kip Sabian went to go check on her. Miro wanted to get back in the ring. He grabbed Kip Sabian, threw him in the ring, says, "Tag me," and he tagged him, and that's how Miro got back in the match. I like how Miro took full control of this match, and even though Kip was checking on his wife, he grabbed him, threw him in the ring, says, "You need to tag me back in. I want back in to kick more ass." And so he goes back in the ring, and he starts beating the crap out of them, and eventually gets the victory. Puts Chuck E. T, I was going to say the camel clutch. What's he call it? The game over submission. Is that what he calls it?
I think so.
I'm so used to Iron Sheik with the camel clutch. So Miro picks the victory here, and dude, he looked very dominant. I wonder, will this lead to a breakup between him and Kip Sabian? Because Kip Sabian saw Miro, and more or less knocked his wife off the rope. So if Miro could separate himself from Kip Sabian, I'm all for it. Let him be this badass monster that we saw in this ring and get away from all the goofy video game stuff that he was doing with Kip Sabian. Just, he needs a change, and he could be such a dominant top monster for AEW. And next up, we saw, Alex Marvez talking to the Inner Circle. We talked about that already. Next up was Hangman Adam Page taking on Big Money Matt Hardy for this match here. They were calling it the Big Money match, and the winner receives the loser's 2021 first quarter earnings. So January through March. To be honest, I really enjoyed this match here. I think Hangman looked great. Matt Hardy, he's a pro, man. He's an old school pro. So they're going to deliver a top match. I really like just the back and forth in this one. What about you?
What was the time on this one?
This was 14 minutes and 40 seconds.
Really? It felt a lot longer. They got a little ambitious. Maybe cut it down like 4 minutes. Maybe just give me 10 minutes of it, honestly.
Yeah.
I did like the spot, of course, when the Dark Order, like they pop him back up and he hits the buckshot lariat and pins Matt.
Yeah, so early on the match was Matt Hardy working on Hangman's arm, the arm that he uses for the buckshot lariat. So I really like that story aspect. He was working on it, and then Hangman eventually did the moonsault off the pole outside to Matt Hardy. So I really enjoy this, and eventually, Private Party come in, kind of try to distract Hangman Adam Page. But man, Matt Hardy hit the side effect into what's his finisher again? The
Twist of Fate.
Twist of Fate, and Hangman kicked out of that. That was awesome. And then so later on, as you said, Hangman was gonna fall out of the ring, but trust fall or trust catch Dark Order picks him up and catches him, pushes him back in the ring, hits a buckshot lariat, and takes out Matt Hardy for the win. And yeah, man, Hangman's going to get a lot more money for these first 3 months of the year. Matt Hardy's money. And then Dark Order comes in. They surround him. They give him a big hug. Colt Cabana has some Dark Order beer, and Hangman starts drinking it. So what do you think Hangman's going to do with Matt Hardy's money now?
Buy a lot more beer. And hold on, I want to talk about the video package. Okay. They hyped up, Hangman Page is not a stupid individual. He got a 4-year college degree in 2 years from Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
That's an incredibly hard school to get into.
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah, man. I mean, that's a high profile school, man.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So that's like the Stanford of the East Coast.
Nice. So it was cool. Jim Ross said like he outsmarted Matt Hardy. Like he's a smart dude, so you don't try to outsmart him; he'll get you back. So that was great. I enjoyed that. So yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool maybe if Hangman uses Matt Hardy's money, buys a bunch of beer for himself, or maybe he does some like fun activities with the Dark Order. Maybe he takes them out somewhere or something, but just spends a bunch of money on them as a thank you or something. I think that'd be kind of funny. And maybe that could be some funny, like vignette packages, video packages on Dynamite for the next week or two. So I think that'd be really cool. Next up was the big ladder match, the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Had Cody Rhodes, Lance Archer, Penta El Zero Miedo, Scorpio Sky, and Max Caster, and surprise competitor, formerly of Impact Wrestling, Ethan Page. So that's the 6 competitors. So yeah,
I popped for him. I did. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's all ego. That's the dude. You know, he and Cody were former tag team champions at, I forget the promotion in Canada.
Alpha One, I think.
Alpha One, yeah, they were tag champs up there. So, you know, there's a little tie there. Shout out to Max Caster. Fire bars when he came out to the ring. He hit up Governor Chris Cuomo for that one. Yeah. Tongue twister. But look, man, honestly, we have to stop the WWE digs. We have to stop. Like when Brody Lee first came on scene, it was an imitation of Vince. Let's be real, with the Blazers and the whatnot, and the brass ring. Like were they playing? I know they're big gamers. Like, oh yeah, a Sonic ring. Let's put that above. I know
it looked like Sonic the Hedgehog ring. Yeah,
you could have done literally anything else. You not a briefcase because you're copying WWE. You could have put up a contract, a piece of paper. Hell, you literally could have put up like a golden TNT logo and hung it above the ring. You could have done anything like that. No, like stop it.
Yeah, so the symbolism of when they said the brass ring, I was like, oh my God, they got to go up there and grab the brass ring. I was like, oh my God, this is such another dig.
I did not think they would actually do that. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It's a little brass ring hanging up there. And I was like, oh my God.
Like that makes your company look stupid.
Yeah, it was such as an obvious dig to WWE. And I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of like done hearing that. It's like, guys, do your own thing. Don't worry about the competition. Quit acknowledging them. I get it. Vince McMahon made that comment years ago to people who want to aspire to be the best or the top person in the company. You got to grab that brass ring. It's like, okay, we get it. And that's what a lot of wrestlers reference who leave WWE. It's like, yeah, I tried to grab the brass ring, but couldn't, whatever. So I'm just tired of hearing that. Anyway, it just seems so petty. So when I saw that, I was like, oh. So, I mean, visually it looked cool. Like you said, it looked like Sonic the Hedgehog ring there. But man, this match itself, I thought was pretty fun. Everyone was doing their thing. Cody Rhodes got hurt. I want to say like about halfway during this match, he got hurt. And he took the Canadian Destroyer from Pentagon outside to the ladder. And then the medical team surrounds him, takes him out back. But it was funny. They took him to the ramp, but they never officially like took him completely back to the locker room. They kept him like right there in the hallway or the ramp entrance. And so whenever they had like the big wide shot in the camera, you clearly could see him. And so I felt it was a little distracting. Like I'm trying to watch the match, but you could clearly see Cody sitting there. So I just was kind of weird. It was like, dude, like, completely go out of screen. Like, I don't know why you need to be right there in the hallway still. It just didn't make sense to me.
I didn't see Cody. Whenever I did like look and see that, I saw like Arn.
Yeah.
So I thought he was just like watching the match on the screen or something. That's honestly what I thought was going on.
Yeah.
But Cody came back, right?
Yeah. He came back towards the end. So, I mean, I thought Lance Archer really was great as towards the end where you start choke slamming like I think 3 guys in a row. I liked how he was stuck in the ladder though, and Ethan Page was slamming one half of the ladder onto him. Scorpio Sky, he was kind of gone for a good portion of the match. I noticed towards the end, and he finally appeared back up. Penta El Zero Miedo. dude, he was so awesome in this match. It's just as far as the high flying stuff he can do. And oh my God, just so many of the great spots he was able to land in there. But Max Caster, he really kind of impressed me too, as far as, I think he could be like a big star for them. I mean, I know he's got, the Acclaim, and is his partner injured right now? Is that what's going on? That's why he's like doing like this little bit of a singles run right now.
What's his partner's name? Anthony Bowens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
But the elbow drop he hit on Cody, like you could hear it, like
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that actually hurt.
Yeah, and then who was the one spot they did a dive off the top rope onto the ladder? I was like, oh my God. So there was a lot of great spots here. Penta El Zero Miedo, I said, really went balls to the wall in this match. Let me look here. I mean, the only problem with these ladder matches, though, is obviously guys who are climbing up and they like take their time. And I'm like, run up there. I mean, that's the one thing with these ladder matches that just drive me nuts. Is like how slow they go.
Huey, look, when was the last time you climbed a ladder?
I'm trying to think. When was the last time?
I climbed one a couple weeks ago. That's scary. It's scary, man.
You're afraid of heights.
Well, not even if you're afraid of heights. Like sturdiness and durability, and given your mass. I'm a hefty boy, so I have to be extra careful. Even guys who are fit, they have to be extra careful. You don't want to fall, especially in the ring where like it's already elevated, and if you get like to pretty high on the rungs and you get knocked off, bam.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So you have to be careful. I understand.
I was, like I said, I was a little bummed that Lance Archer did not win because how dominating he was towards the end with all those chokes. And I was like, oh, it looks great. Jake the Snake Roberts with the clothesline. I mean, that was awesome as well.
We've seen it, but I don't know if he can physically do it, but I'm waiting for when he drops a DDT on somebody.
I wonder what the holdup is. Maybe he just physically can't, or maybe it's just too tough on his body. I mean, it's easier to do the clothesline.
All that DDP yoga, I would assume so.
I know, man, but he looks really brittle though.
Or maybe they're waiting for a big moment for them to
with
bust
the crowd,
it out.
maybe with the crowd or something. Yeah. So towards the end, Cody makes the big rush back. Him and Scorpio Sky going up at the ladder at the same time, and Scorpio Sky talks to Cody in his face and like shoves him off the ladder, like literally takes his hand and just pushes in his face and throws him off. Scorpio Sky, a little bit of a heelish move right there, and he grabs the brass ring and wins.
That's him saying, like, hey, you've already been the champion. You were the first champion. This is my moment now.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So he's going to get a shot against Darby Allin for the TNT Championship this Wednesday. So this is going to be Scorpio Sky's second opportunity. Because remember, he took on Cody last year when Cody was champion. It's interesting, man. Like, I don't necessarily see Darby losing and dropping the title because I feel like he just got it. And he hasn't really had a chance to defend it because he's been so busy with Team Taz and the Sting stuff. So hypothetically, Scorpio Sky loses again another championship match for the TNT title. I wonder where Scorpio Sky go from here. Does he go down like this downward spiral and gets like really pissed off, becomes like a really bad heel?
Well, the only way I could see him losing is if Darby rolls him up, like, damn, like, are you serious? Like, Scorpio, like, they go toe to toe for a little bit, then Scorpio Sky really dominates the majority of the match, and then boom, roll up 1, 2, 3, Darby Allin escapes with the TNT title. Because with his size, like, that's how he can win most of his matches, and it doesn't really decrease the value of his competitor or his challenger.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes on TNT this week on Dynamite. Next up, so we see Justin Roberts announce it's time to meet the man who's going to sign a contract with AEW tonight, and out walks Christian Cage. The crowd starts cheering. It was the countdown, and it was the Christian's music or Christian Cage's music from TNA.
Yeah.
So what'd you think, man? Were you happy? Were you excited for this?
I'm happy for him because I've like Hall of Fame talent, like Brandon and I, we had this conversation where he doesn't think he's like a traditional like pro wrestling Hall of Fame talent. Like under WWE terms, yes, sure, but I've always enjoyed Christian, man. Like when he jumped over to TNA all those years ago, we're like, oh, because he was like the first guy, like he was before Kurt. He was like the first big signing that those guys got. We're like, okay, something's happening. Yeah. And like, I mean, hey man, like he popped up in the Royal Rumble. He had that moment with Edge, got the buzz going. I guess he and WWE can come to an agreement, so he pops up in TNA, like or AEW. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like apparently he personally called Tony Khan, was like, "Hey, I want to come here. I want to wrestle on a regular basis." And you know what? If he hadn't been in the Royal Rumble, this would have been even more surprising.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm happy for Christian. The fact that if he's been medically cleared to wrestle, and WWE didn't offer anything significant, I'm excited for him that he's going to a place where he can contribute and wrestle and maybe end his career on his terms. And you brought up a good point. When he went to TNA, he really took a chance on himself to prove to people that he could be a main eventer or be someone that fight for the world title. And so, when he went to TNA, it was like, what, a 4-year window he went over there? He was, I think it was 4 years.
Just like 3.5, almost 4.
Yeah,
because they were using the NWA title, and sure, it was like on TV, but like it still hadn't been like of the golden era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Christian, he elevated the championship, man. You can't lie. The matches with AJ and Abyss and Jeff Jarrett, Double J. All those matches elevated the NWA title, and he proved that, hey, I can main event. I can be the guy here. And then he goes back to WWE, and we the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, so that time period TNA, I kind of enjoyed what he was doing, because I was like, wow, he's doing some really cool stuff. Like he's like out of Edge's shadow, and he is main eventing obviously the smaller promotion at the time. But I had a lot of respect for him. I was enjoying Christian Cage, that character. And yeah, I enjoyed when he had the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. I was like, oh, that's awesome. He's in the same lineage of like Ric Flair and Harley Race, like that same title. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And he's doing a lot of good stuff there and really helped, I think, elevate TNA's presence before they went kind of more into the bigger years, as you said, with AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. And then, he went back to WWE and was really a big face on SmackDown, if I remember. And you had the rivalry with Randy Orton. He was a world heavyweight champion. So
elevated WWE ECW for a little bit.
That's right. Yeah.
Before they got rid of it. Yeah, man. I mean, looking at this, so we're gonna run into the all ex WWE. Here we go. But Jericho, he just released a statement about this. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
So it's Jericho on hiring legends. This is what he says: when you're a new company, and if we want to try to get a TV deal in India, for example. Who is on the show? Jericho. Okay, know him. Sting, know him. Paul White. Okay, know him. Christian, know him. Those are the guys that can open the door to get eyes on Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Darby Allin, Cody Rhodes, Starks, etc.
Yeah.
So that's what this means. And you know what? Renee Young apparently interviewed Christian, and that episode is gonna drop tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Podcast oral session. So we're gonna
She's gonna get the exclusive.
Yeah, she got the first one.
Okay, because usually Chris Jericho Talk is Jericho. He gets the first big interview that someone does when they sign to AEW and talk all about their time in WWE. So
yeah, I guess she's a part of the Volume Podcast Network or something.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and they posted a photo of like her and Christian conducting the interview. So
awesome. Okay, I can't wait to hear it. So yeah, I would love to hear what happened from the time he was medically cleared to appear at the Royal Rumble to here now and sign with AEW. So I know Tony Khan did the media scrum after Revolution. And he said, quote, I met Christian Cage 7 years ago, and he's a great person. I've always really liked him as a person, but long before that, I've been a huge fan of him as a wrestler. I think he's one of the great wrestlers the last couple of decades. He's had great matches in different companies. He's been a great singles wrestler, a great tag champion, and I think he's one of the best minds in wrestling. He's in great physical condition. We saw him very recently compete on pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble. That's what he's referring to. There was a lot of interest in him. It generated a lot of interest, and he was interested in wrestling on a regular basis. And, he gave me a call and said, I really like to come wrestle in AEW for you. And I said, I really like to have you come and wrestle for me. It all came together great, and I think it's going to be really good. So, yeah, man.
Apparently, WWE officials were actually kind of shocked that he went there.
Yeah, it's interesting curious from Christian's, at least, viewpoint, explain what happened. So what happened at the Royal Rumble? Did WWE offer him something after the Royal Rumble, but it wasn't to his liking? Maybe maybe the money wasn't right. Maybe they didn't have anything major creative for him. So maybe AEW had a better offer, or maybe AEW had more creative options for him. It'd be interesting to see what the reason was why he left WWE after one return match, and go to jump right to AEW.
Hey, this is letting you know, like, hey, you know, like when Jericho left, you kind of would have thought, like, I don't know if they have Jericho. Okay, Sting's coming out of retirement. Christian, he's there. Could we see Carlito? Like you don't know, man.
Yeah.
This is
So
awesome.
I mean, and so I think, I don't know if in our predictions the night before, I think Christian was one of the names we threw out there. So I was happy. I was very satisfied with that, choosing Christian Cage to come out, and I'm very excited for him. I'm a big fan of him, and I interviewed him a few years ago, and he explained when he went to TNA, that was a time. I have to look for that quote. I'll have to isolate that audio, and I'll maybe share it on social media, of him explaining that at that time he betted on himself to prove to everyone that he can be a main eventer. And so it was a tough decision to leave WWE and go to TNA, but he knew it was the thing he had to do for his career. And so I can see how that similar mindset can be present here, as far as leaving WWE once again, even though it's one match, and go sign with AEW.
Man, it's awesome, and I got to give a shout out to One Winged Angel on Twitter. He put out that tweet: Christian Cage and Brian Cage versus Hangman Page and Ethan Page. Special guest referee Diamond Dallas Page. Guest commentators Nicolas Cage and Nick Gage at a TV special named Path of Rage, hosted by Taz. All those guys were involved in the show except for Nicolas Cage and Nick Gage.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's very funny.
We saw DDP, yeah, and we saw Al Snow.
Snow.
What does everybody want?
More head.
What does everybody need?
More head.
There you go.
Al Snow, man, he owns Ohio Valley Wrestling now. I wonder.
I didn't think that was still a thing.
I know.
Actually, who he was on TNA? I think. Remember Robbie E?
Yeah.
Wait, no. Oh, wait, no. He's in WWE as Robert Stone. My bad.
Yeah.
Some former TNA guy. He's like the OVW champion right now.
Yeah, Brian Pillman Jr. was the champion recently, but he let it go.
And then
the other guy, the guy who looks like the Jersey Shore guy, right, is the champion now, I think.
I think it's Rob Terry, right?
Something like that. I forgot. No, but for Christian, I'm excited for this signing. Listen, he's a veteran. He's accomplished. He's a great worker in the ring. As you said, great wrestling mind, Tony Khan said. I think him and all these other veterans they've been signed can be great minds to really maybe help the locker room be locker room leaders and really help mold and nourish this younger generation of talent that AEW has.
And John Moxley said he would love to have Christian here because, in that short period of time that Christian worked with the Shield, Mox said he learned so much from him.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's great.
Man.
But keep in mind also, like when Edge and Christian hugged at the Royal Rumble, I think a lot of people thought like, oh, is this the beginning of something new? A new program that they can do, or a new run that they can both have in WWE. Now looking back on it, that photo I shared on Instagram, in a way, I think it's almost like a goodbye. Like they knew it was going to be like a one and done maybe thing. I don't know. It just has a lot more meaning now.
Maybe not a goodbye. Maybe just like, hey, see you down the road.
Yeah. So maybe, hopefully, I don't know if that Royal Rumble match really was the last time the two of them share a ring together. We shall wait and see. So we could talk more about Christian. He didn't say anything at the pay-per-view, so maybe hopefully he'll say more at Dynamite this week or whenever he makes his next appearance. All right, a couple things to power through real quick. So cinematic match time, the street fight between Darby Allin and Sting taking on Team Taz, Brian Cage, and Ricky Starks. Dude, I'll just say it. This is one of the best cinematic matches I've ever seen. It was a lot of fun. What'd you think?
It was great, sure. But look, dude, so Hook gets involved, Hobbs gets involved.
Yeah.
Bro, well, this is what I was talking about. You have two huge dudes in Cage and Hobbs.
Yeah.
You have a decent sized built guy in Ricky Starks, and you have a growing boy in Hook. All of them couldn't defeat an old man and a skinny kid. Like, come on, really? Really? That's stupid.
Okay, I will say this. I like how it was shot. It looked like an action movie. the way it was shot, and I think Darby Allin really was involved with the making of this movie. And I like how he was skateboarding, grabbed on the Sting's truck, and they took off to the location, this warehouse. And Brian Cage and Ricky Starks were there. They showed up in their sports car. And I like how they had like a little bit of the music under, and then they let the commentators still call the match. WWE, when they did their cinematic matches, there was no commentators, right? Like on the Boneyard match or the Firefly Funhouse match, the commentators didn't say anything, right? It was just the wrestlers themselves doing all the talking.
Yeah. Yes.
So it was interesting. This dynamic, it was the reversal as far as the commentators doing all the play-by-play. You barely heard the wrestlers talking, so that was a little bit different. But I like the way this match was great. Like Sting, didn't have to take a lot of big bumps. I like how the way they shot it, where Sting and everyone's fighting in the ring, but then maybe they'll focus on Darby and Brian Cage, and then Sting is out of the shot, so he doesn't have kayfabe or suspend my disbelief. I assume he's fighting, but theoretically, since he's off camera, he can take a break, for his older body. So I like that aspect of it as far as a way of using Sting. Even though he's in his early 60s, you can still use him in a match like that. So anyway, also, I mean, there was just so much hard hitting. I like Brian Cage tearing up all the hoodlums. Is that was the name of all the guys around the ring?
Yeah.
So I like he just went on a tear, beating them all up. And then, he took Darby Allin and, he lifted him up over his shoulder and walked up all those steps to this next floor. Great, just feat of strength right there. Ricky Starks and Sting were going back and forth, and Starks told him, like, get rid of the bat. And so he threw the bat up onto the next floor, but that would come back later in the match. And then they kept fighting. But yeah, as you said, Powerhouse Hobbs and Hook get involved as well. So it was like 4-on-2. So I was like, man, even a street fight, it's still going to be outnumbered. But then I like later on where Sting and they're all down below. Darby Allin takes the bat and throws it down to Sting. Sting perfectly catches it and starts swinging it and starts beating up everyone. And then he breaks it over Brian Cage's back. And then Tony Schiavone says that bat has beaten up so many people over the years. And that made me pop, just that comment, because it reminded me of Nitro and all those years during the Attitude Era where Sting was beating up all those legends, Nash, Hall, Hogan, everyone with that bat. So that was just like, metaphorically speaking, just the power of the bat for Sting, the symbolism there. Anything else from this match that stood out for you per se?
I don't like behind the scenes wise. I wonder how it was for Sting, because Taker said like when they were filming the Boneyard match, like they had to start and stop shooting, and like he's older now, so like he would be stiff and it would take a long time for him to get warm. I kind of wonder what that was like for Sting.
Yeah, the kind of filming process. If we could ever,
hey, what's the best part about these guys going there? We have easier access to them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then maybe do more shoot interviews or at least explaining what happened.
Yeah, so I'd like if we can get Sting on there, like I'd want to know like, hey, like how was that for you? But it looked cool. It wasn't like every other cinematic match we've seen.
Yeah,
it was different.
My only question, as far as the rules, okay, this is a street fight, right? There's a ring there, so hypothetically, I'm guessing. Okay, if it's a street fight, technically, was falls count anywhere a stipulation involved in this? Because what I'm getting at, they start in the ring and then they go all over the warehouse. They go up to the next floor. We even see Darby Allin, from the top floor, elbow drop onto Brian Cage. Great spot at the end. They're fighting all over the warehouse on these multiple floors, but they go away from the ring. So, it was just very convenient how at the end they make their way back to the ring. Sting hits the Scorpion Death Drop on Ricky Starks and gets the pin. So, did the match have to end in the ring to count?
Yeah.
Or could they have done the falls anywhere in that warehouse?
It had to end if they could pin them anywhere. It would have been a falls count anywhere match.
Yeah, okay. So that's what I'm saying. It was very convenient how they start in the ring and then they go all over the place and then they somehow just naturally get back into the ring. So I don't know. It just if I'm in that match, I mean, as much as I want to go explore other parts of the warehouse, I'd be like, no, I need to keep this guy in the ring, because if I knock him out, I can get the victory in the actual ring there. So anyway, just as far as that little detail, but I like how Will Hobbs and Brian Cage took Darby Allin, threw him into the glass window there. That was a great spot. So it just was really cool. I kind of laughed a little bit. There was one point they were walking by all those windows and you see the cameramen's in the reflection. So that was like, oh, you can look at the little details like that. So, but overall, I thought this was a lot of fun for a cinematic match, and I'm down if AEW does want to do more of these, because I think they look great, and it's a great way of just really selling a grudge between everyone involved in the match here. So it was a lot of fun. All right, so let's jump on over to the main event time now for the AEW World Title. It was an exploding barbed wire death match. Kenny Omega defending against Jon Moxley. All right, for the match itself, I thought it was a good match as far as they started out wrestling and the psychology of it all, as far as they're trying to push the other person into the barbed wire ropes. That way, if they touch the ropes, it sets off the explosion. So there was a lot of back and forth, trying to feel each other out, trying to push each other and holding back. They had the one open ropes that were open that they can use. So eventually Kenny Omega started to use that to get some momentum and take out Jon Moxley. Moxley started bleeding early on here. What did you think when the actual explosions went off, when Moxley went to the ropes the first time and the first set of explosives went off there?
I was like, oh, I'm glad we're getting to this right now. I just got a DM from Kings Road Wrestling, who was there live.
Oh, nice.
And he said, yeah, all the explosions looked great except the last one. We're going to get to that.
Yeah,
we're going to get to that. But yeah, I mean, they did. I was like, oh my God, that was cool. And I mean, the wrestling was really good. They really started to pick it up in the barbed wire and just like being entrenched in it and whatnot, and trying to suplex each other, and the falling, like they went down to the floor where there was barbed wire and there was like that one little explosive.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the best, like the most creative spot was the foot on the rope to break the pin. Like that was super creative. I love that.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up who is what's that one company that's known for all the death matches? UFW?
IWA, right?
IWA. What's it? Is it UWF? Is what? No, UWF is the. I'm totally spacing here. But anyway, so
are we talking about CZW?
No, the one in Japan where that guy, the Japanese legend.
Oh, Onita.
Onita.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, here it is. Onita FMW. That's what it was. FMW. So, okay. I don't have a lot of expertise or knowledge about these barbed wire death matches, other than when I've seen the highlights of like Mick Foley and Terry Funk. So with that being said, my expectations were kind of low. I was going to take it for face value, what was presented to me. So those first set of explosions when Moxley went into it, and then later on Kenny Omega got kicked into the ropes. When those explosions went off, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Loud and a lot of smoke there. I even liked later on, they were kicking the crap out of each other. And at one point, Kenny Omega hit the one wing angel on Jon Moxley, but Jon Moxley broke up the pin by putting his leg on the barbed wire rope and set off the explosion. And the explosion went off in Kenny's face, and that's how he broke the pin. So I thought that was a great bit of strategy there. I also enjoy was that later on, Moxley hit the Pentagon. Oh my God.
Paradigm shift
on Kenny Omega on the outside on the floor, and that set off some more explosions on the barbed wire. So it really turned into a bloody mess. These guys were beating the crap out of each other. The baseball bats covered in barbed wire. There was a lot of aspects to this that I really enjoyed. I mean, Kenny Omega was still trying to do some flips in there. So these guys really, were going all out in this match. And I respect that part of it. It was a great match. Unfortunately, the finale here, and let's just go ahead and talk about it as far as, there's a 30-minute time window. If the match is not done by 30 minutes, the whole ring explodes. Which I was kind of confused by, because when they, towards the end, the Good Brothers come out and help Kenny Omega beat up Jon Moxley. They gave him their baseball bat covered in barbed wire, and Kenny hit Moxley in the face, and there was a set of explosions on that one. That went off. I thought visually that looked really cool. And then Kenny hit the one wing angel on the chair, and got the pin and got the win. So the match is over. There was still like 5 minutes left. So I assume that the match is done. We're not going to get that big explosion, but yet they kept doing the countdown and everyone's like, oh, we got to get out of the ring. We got to get out. We got to get out. It was kind of an odd situation. I don't know about you, but did you really think the Good Brothers and that whole thing was getting a little awkward? Like they were kind of selling for time. Like the match ended a little early and like Kenny and Good Brothers were really taking their time beating the crap out of them because they were just stalling until they got down to like that 1 minute mark.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. The match should have gone on a little bit longer, and they should have finished it with like a minute and a half left, you could say.
Yeah.
And then they beat him up for a little bit, and then, like they run away. Kingston comes out, and explosion happens.
So,
which, I mean, it is what it is, man. Honestly, like New Jack, he spoke on it.
Okay, what did he say?
Oh man, where's it? Let me
So
find it.
I was gonna say, you find it?
Yeah, he said, I just saw a hardcore match from AEW on Facebook. I'll send you all the instructions.
Oh my god! So listen,
Yeah.
I like how when Moxley came out, he came out with the leather jacket, very much like Onita's. He had the flask. He was taking a big shot of it before the match started. Like I said, there was a lot of parts of this match I enjoyed. I enjoyed the wrestling. I enjoyed them, beating the crap out of each other and they're bleeding. The use of explosions, throughout the match. So at the very end, when it was like less than a minute, we see Eddie Kingston come out and he jumps over him, his friend. Well, it was like 10 seconds left. Everyone else, Butcher and Blade, they run out. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, they run away. So Eddie Kingston, he's trying to help John up. He can't lift him up. And he puts his body over John Moxley to protect him, anticipating this big explosion. The big explosion goes off. It was a dud. It was more like sparklers and just some
Gilbert sparklers, dude.
I know. Shotzi Blackheart's tweet about that. That was great. The Gilbert video.
Honestly, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Look,
yeah,
it was the equivalent of when the Joker holds a gun at your head and the bang flag pops out.
Or when So Cold did to Vince McMahon.
Yeah. That's what that was. Now, look, I've had some time to think about it. I know, like, Cindy was pissed about it. I wasn't happy with it. I'm like, man, that was weak. That was whack. What is this?
Yeah.
But given if they were have like a better explosion, like the Onita one. Have you seen the Onita one?
Yeah.
Like, if they were to have something like that, what if something went wrong?
And that's
so in that case, I'm fine with it. So that these guys didn't get hurt.
It's just okay for me. One, it's just unfortunate that even though overall I enjoyed this pay-per-view, I had a lot of fun with it. That's what this pay-per-view is going to be remembered for. It's just that lousy explosion. So despite everyone else working their ass off, delivering a great show, everyone's just going to remember that explosion. And so it's kind of embarrassing. And I think was it Bully Ray tweeted out a quote from Vince McMahon. It doesn't matter. Like it all that matters is how you finish the show. And unfortunately, this show ended kind of on a dud, and everyone on Twitter was going off on it. I kind of wonder, did they have more explosions? Did they practice this? Were they able to practice this? I mean, I know like you have a budget for these explosions. Maybe you weren't able to do a practice round because you only have so much money to invest in this pyro and explosion. So you couldn't do like multiple tests to see how it's done. So maybe there was a malfunction with this explosion. They thought there was going to be more. But then again, you look about it, those death matches in Japan, those big explosions, that was a different era, man. That was a different country, different set of rules, a different time period. We live in America now in a different culture that we live in. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that they can get away over there that we can't get away with here with all the rules and, fire codes and whatnot and people's safety. So I just don't think they were able to do something like that, execute something like that. So, I mean, of course I was disappointed. And even Tony Khan on the media scrum said, or scrub, I should say, he said, oh yeah, that's how it was supposed to go. Do you believe that? He's like, I don't know if he's trying to maintain kayfabe, but he says that was the plan to go off like that because John Moxley cut that promo after the show and said Kenny Omega's one tough SOB, but he's lousy at building barbed wire death matches, rings, or so. I don't know. I wonder if Tony Khan is trying to just maintain kayfabe. be yet to be seen if they're going to turn this into a storyline. Maybe they'll make fun of this on Being the Elite. I mean, I hope maybe they'll make fun of this on Dynamite somehow. Maybe they can use this part of the storyline. I don't know.
I don't know, man. TK, I'm sure he was maintaining kayfabe. Yeah, man. Like it is what it is. It happened. People will forget about it. That's just how wrestling works.
Yeah,
you know, they're like, we're never gonna forget the Fiend and Seth Rollins in that Hell in a Cell. Nobody's talking about it anymore.
Well, I do feel bad for Eddie Kingston because I think this was supposed to be a big dramatic moment for him. You know, him and Jon Moxley had their beef and pretty intense rivalry end of last year. But no matter what, that's still his friend. And so despite everything they've been through last year, he ran out there to sacrifice himself. Very much like, you see Captain America, the first Avenger years ago? Okay, so Captain America, before he got the super soldier serum, he proved that he was a good person and worthy of the test to get the super soldier serum. Is Tommy Lee Jones' character throws a fake grenade on the ground on the army practice, and Chris Evans' character, Steve Rogers, jumps on the grenade to protect everyone. And then when the grenade didn't go off, it was a fake one. They knew he was a good person, that he would sacrifice himself to protect other people. So anyway, I just saw Eddie Kingston jump on Jon Moxley. I thought, oh, this is Steve Rogers' Captain America moment. He's jumping on the grenade to protect Jon Moxley. So anyway, I thought this was going to be a very powerful, dramatic moment for Eddie Kingston and his character. And in some ways, I think was going to turn babyface here. Unfortunately, of the dud explosions, it was just kind of awkward because he was selling it like he was acting like he was knocked out. I was like, dude, like nothing hit you. None of the fireworks hit you. So why are you acting like you're knocked out? It just didn't make sense. That was kind of silly. I think if anything, Eddie should have got him and say, what the F was that? And then the two of them can still like hug it out or something. So maybe as a way to recover from this, I was thinking maybe they can act like, you know, Moxley really appreciates Eddie Kingston sacrificing himself to protect him during a moment when they thought something really bad was going to happen. And then they can laugh and joke how much of a dud the explosion were. And they can make fun of Kenny Omega for that and say how terrible he is at making the death match setup there. So maybe that's how they can kind of recover from this. Maybe Being the Elite can make fun of this as well. I don't know. We'll see how this plays out, but it's just unfortunate that as great of a show this was, people are just going to remember it for that one thing.
Yeah, I bet Randy setting the Fiend on fire isn't dumb now, huh? Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we could talk more about this. We'll see maybe the fallout on Dynamite this week and see how they address this and moving forward. So I wonder maybe Moxley will take some time off now. Maybe this is a way to kind of write him off TV for a bit before Renee gives birth. I don't know. It's a very fascinating situation, and I want to see how AEW recovers from this. I mean, there's a lot of people comparing this to the Chamber House of Horror WCW did, the Shockmaster failure. I mean, there's so many other botches in wrestling that they're comparing it to, adding to the list. I mean, it was funny. Like Kane has had better pyro in his entrances over the years, or even on this same night, Cody Rhodes, when he came to the ring, had better pyro, or Pentagon, when he came to the ring for the ladder match, he had better pyro than that finale was.
That's very true. You know, I don't know, man.
I know. Like
I just don't know.
So like I said, we can talk about maybe more after we see how Dynamite plays out. So it's unfortunate. Like I said, I feel bad for everyone. It was a dud. I'm sure that was not the intention, and yeah, we'll see how this all plays out. So, but overall, I thought Revolution was a fun show for what it was, and I think it's best to focus on all the great aspects of it and don't get so caught up in the finish of that match. All right, so let's go ahead and start wrapping things up. Philip, where can all the Kliqsters find you online?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HeelAntwine, HeelAntwine, The Bulletcast on Instagram, The Bulletcast on YouTube, at Bulletcast on Twitter. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a pleasure serving the masses with my vocal box, discussing the outcome of AEW Revolution, discussing all things pro wrestling and sports entertainment. I love you all. Good night. Goodbye, Daniel.
Ba-bang. I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. Like I said at the top of the show, follow In The Kliq on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to us there. Leave a comment a rating on Apple Podcasts. Please share the podcast. Follow us on social media at inthekliq@gmail.com if you want to ask us a question for a future email bag segment, and get the merch over on Teespring. And on that note, let's go home, and that's the bottom line because Huey said so.